everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready?
Action item number 2, we called the meeting to order. We have no board members online, and I think we have, everyone's here. Yes. So we're good to move forward. So meeting's called to order. Executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056E matters where duties of legal consult to client under code of professional responsibility conflict with statute or premature disclosure with a disadvantaged school unit.
Second.
All right, moved in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll be into executive session. We'll return. We're going to go to the band room. All right, I'm going to call the board meeting public session back to order. Next, we're going to have a action item, accept summer resignations.
So moved.
And those are in your, those are in your packet. There's 3 of them there. One is from Haley Chadbourne, high school English teacher. One is from Principal Rick Sorois, and the third one is from Katie Jewett, middle school team teacher.
All right, before we vote, can you fill us in on when we're going to discuss the middle school, like where the other 2 at being filled, please? I know people. Where are we at with the 2 positions, the resignations? Are they filled?
They are
interviewing. Where are we at?
Yes, so we're interviewing for the high school one right now. Actually, I did a second interview with them today. And then we've got a plan for the middle school principal interim position, and I'll share more about that next. And then we are currently advertising for Katie Jewett's position.
All right. So, thank you. Any other discussion regarding that? All right, all in favor to accept those resignations?
Hold on, was it Noah? Sorry.
Yeah, Noah second.
Noah? Okay.
Yeah. All in favor? All right, unanimous. Thank you. Next, we're going to discuss interim role at Maranacook Community Middle School.
Yes, so. All right, I'm gonna ask you to pass some that way and some that way. And Amy, can I give you these if anyone in the audience would like? Thank you. Just waiting.
Yeah, we'll wait a couple minutes.
Yes. So, when we started this process, Michelle LaForge, Principal LaForge from the high school, is kind of the one that initiated this and said, "Jay, I have an idea for you," and I thought it was a really good idea. So we worked together to kind of talk a little bit about how are we going to cover all of this, because it's a pretty big job. So the priorities, as you see on the first page, are again to maintain educational excellence and continuity. We want to make sure that the delivery of high quality instruction and learning experiences for all students continues during this leadership transition. We want to foster school culture and community engagement. I'm not going to read all of that to you, but I'll just do the kind of the talking points or the highlights. Support staff development and operational stability, prioritize student, staff, and well-being, and facilitate smooth leadership transition planning. So to do that, we're tapping into, as I said, Principal LaForge, Assistant Principal Goslin, who works here at the middle school, and then Assistant Principal Cal Dorman, who also works at the high school. So with that, they've come up with a rotation to be able to make sure that For almost every single day, there's actually 2 administrators at the middle school as well as at the high school, and that's going to be facilitated at the high school by some help from people like Adult Ed Director Steve Bose and Brant Remington, our Student Services Director, both of whom have administrative degrees. And then, of course, our administrative team, including people like Assistant Superintendent Karen Smith. All of my elementary principals have basically said, if you need help, you just simply have to call and ask, and we're there. We'll give you help. So we have this kind of covered and planned. Again, Michelle and Cal came up with a little schedule. It's kind of a tentative schedule right now that I kind of copied, pasted into there, and I know it's a little tiny, but at least it gives you an idea of how they will be covering and providing support at the middle school as we go forward. Then on the back side of that, we understand that the goal is, in the end, because of the timing of the way all of this kind of played out, is that we're going to look for a new middle school principal, but we understand that it's going to take some time to do that. So we came up together with a little bit of a calendar, knowing that this calendar has to be flexible. A lot of it's going to depend on getting appropriate feedback as to what we would like for a new middle school principal. So the goal is in the month of August and September and the beginning part of October is to make sure the schools are up and running efficiently and taking care of any immediate needs as we start the school year. Then we're going to start to gather stakeholder information about what they would like to see in their principal, and that'll come from the staff, that'll come from the communities, and we hope to actually be able to do that with students as well. Once we've got that, we will create a job posting. We look to get that up in the month of November. And then from there, as the applications come in, we will then look at, okay, when are we going to schedule interviews and hopefully get into the hiring process. And that may take a month, but it may take longer than that depending on if we get applications and all that kind of stuff. So again, the administrators at both the high school and the middle school are prepared to kind of do this as long as necessary, with the main goal of we're getting ready for a new principal who's going to come in and take over. So that's kind of what it's looking like. There's a lot of words on that page, and I'm not going to read all of it to you, but those are kind of the key important points to know as you're looking at that going forward. So any questions from the board?
Any questions? All right, seeing none, we are going to move along to, feel free to reach out to Jay, Michelle. I know she's been available, meeting with folks, answering questions. So thank you, Michelle, for all your work. That is great. Next, we're gonna move to public comment. Amy, do you mind getting the clip? I think there's a clipboard. I'm just going to remind folks the public policy. I usually do it at the beginning of the meeting, but I didn't. In accordance with RSU 38 policy BDCH, public participating at school board meetings, the following guidelines will be followed. For those attending via Zoom, you'll notice that the microphones will be muted except during the portions of public comments. This we're number 5. If you're viewing online and would like to speak during public comments, please use the chat feature to notify Diane, and she will communicate to me, and we will allow those who want to speak online to speak. All speakers, please identify yourself with first and last name and the town you live in. Priority will be given to individuals who live or pay taxes in our district, immediate families of students enrolled, and employees of RSU 38. Individuals that do not have one of those direct connections to our district may or may not talk. That is at the discretion of the chair. I'm going to allow anyone who wants to talk, as long as you're respectful, to talk tonight. So we'll settle that right now. We ask that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes, and if someone has similar views as you, we ask you reference those comments and, keep things moving. We want to hear from all of our stakeholders and ask that you be respectful with constructive comments to the board. I would also like to clarify how we address concerns of the public in accordance with RSU 38 policy BEDH. We welcome all respectful comments, and we ask that you do not use any derogatory comments or use names of or identifying comments of any district personnel. We cannot discuss specific personnel matters in this public setting, but can listen to broad concerns folks may have. All speakers are to address the chair and direct questions or comments to particular board members only with approval of the chair. The board will hear and record the comments and questions, but will not debate matters at this meeting. Board members' questions must be addressed through the chair. Following the meeting, we'll take time to research, gather information on the matter, and at the next board meeting, we will follow up with information on the issue as appropriate. So the first one up is Michelle Woodford. Yep.
Our 4 daughters have graduated from the school, and I have to come in 12 months. I want to express my sadness, anger, confusion to the full board with what seemed like a forced resignation of the former middle school principal. 3 out of my 4 girls had said prior principal as their advisor, and he made a monumental impact on them all. His goals went beyond schoolwork, grades, or behavior. He genuinely taught and cared about the whole person. Losing him was and will be detrimental to this district. Losing impactful staff seems to be happening more and more. This is not a trend I am interested in watching continue. I second would like to address the superintendent, and I want to know, and I know you can't speak, but I'm sure many other people would like to know what the goals for this community are. I'm not coming to a resolution with the former principal prior to his contract set to renew is not in the best interest of our district, and certainly was not in the best option for our kids, our teachers, or our community. You stated in your letter to the community on August 1st that your, and I quote, first priority will be to make sure our schools get off to a great first couple of months in the new school year. Do you believe that is what has happened? Do you believe that that is what it was accomplished? Believe that forcing a middle school principal out, who you hired without certification, but who is actively working towards that certification without an assistant principal and increased the central office? Was there a date to when he needed to obtain his certification? When did naming an assistant superintendent without advertising the position or going through the application process be a benefit to the community you were in charge of? When did you decide it was a good idea to have a high school principal now, and that has been answered, that it was Michelle's idea, but do we really think that divvying her up between the middle school and the high school is benefiting anybody? It is not benefiting the high school students and staff, it's not benefiting the middle school students and staff, so who is it benefiting? This community voted and chose the very school board that you were sitting with, who in turn put their trust in you to build a caring school community dedicated to excellence. That phrase may sound familiar, and it is guiding principle on all of your correspondence. Would you in all seriousness and honesty look at that phrase and say that given the decisions made this summer, you are working towards a caring school community dedicated to excellence? Whether or not you and the school board deemed the 2 polls that went out to teachers illegal, unfair, unofficial, or whatever wording was used, it should be a wake-up call that your staff is unhappy, which in turn affects students both directly and indirectly. According to the unofficial polls, the majority of staff do not trust or respect the administration. However, when polled about the principals, the majority do trust and respect them. Maybe instead of losing committed, caring educators and administrators, something or someone higher up needs to change. As the head of RSU 38, who are you representing? Whose agenda are you running? Because I will tell you, this is not how I want my district represented. Whatever your agenda is, it does not line up what is best for this community. You denied our middle school children an extraordinary human as their principal and teacher.
Michelle, can you wrap up?
Yep, but one last paragraph.
Yep, thank you.
To the school board, I want to thank you for listening to your constituents. It is disappointing that meeting was pushed off and decided to not hear the community what they were asking of you. You had the opportunity to sit behind closed doors and listen to Mr. Charrette's reasoning for his decisions this summer. I hope that you all take the statements of the people up here speaking tonight to heart. You have all had the opportunity to really listen to what the members of your community have said to you. And excuse me, I am sure that many of you were bombarded with emails, phone calls, texts. I challenge you to look around, think about how many community members reached out to you and what they are saying to you. How many students were disappointed that a familiar, friendly face would no longer be wandering the halls around campus? And seriously ask yourself if the current superintendent is honestly putting the best interest of the district before his personal agenda. I challenge you to remember who you represent and who put their trust in you to make sure the district is representing a caring school dedicated to excellence.
Thank you. All right, next up is going to be Dominique Taylor.
My name is Dominique Taylor, and I live in Reedfield. I'm going to say a lot of the same things, so sorry about that. But good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. First, I want to say that I don't believe what is happening in the district is fair. I am tired of watching my children's education suffer because we can't seem to keep good teachers, support staff, or administrators. We chose to move from RSU 2 because I wanted my children to have the same strong education I did, and sadly, that's not what they're getting. The district claims its core values are family, integrity, and respect and trust, but those values haven't been reflected in the decisions being made lately. My son hasn't had a full-time music teacher in 3 years. Yes, there's a shortage, but why wasn't the last full-time teacher shown enough appreciation to want to stay? They left for a better pay and a more supportive environment, and now they're thriving elsewhere. It's not just music, we're losing in all areas. Language arts, math, science, special education, kitchen staff, people who were here for years and made a difference. When I was in school, support didn't just come from teachers. It came from kitchen staff, janitors, and even bus drivers. It truly felt like a community. That's slipping away. And yes, there are staffing shortages everywhere. But why is RSU 38 losing so many incredible long-term dedicated staff members in such a short time? Maybe it's time the board starts asking deeper questions, conduct real exit interviews, ask former employees why they left privately and without fear, ask the community, staff, parents, and students whether they still trust the leadership. Right now, many teachers are reaching out to me quietly and anonymously because they're afraid to speak. They worry they'll be silenced or pushed out next. That's not how a healthy district operates. I may just be a 33-year-old stay-at-home mom of 3, but I'm tired of watching this district lose the people who care most about our kids. I was raised to stand up, even if I stand alone, but I'm not alone, and this community deserves better. Please consider giving the community a safe, anonymous way to voice whether we support the current district leadership. Let people speak without fear or retaliation. We need administration and board members who listen, who lead with integrity, and who earn the trust of staff, students, and families. This district deserves better. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we're going to have Jean Rosner, please.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Jean Rosner, parent of student Miles Rosner, resident of Fayette and a longtime teacher in our district. Our district's most recent 5-year strategic plan, which expired in school year 23-24, listed 5 goals identified by our community stakeholders. Since that time, we've not developed an additional strategic plan. We've not revised our mission or vision statements. We state in these vision statements that we are a caring school community dedicated to excellence, and that Mariah Cook Schools will be a safe, dynamic learning community where people of all ages will think, aspire, and participate as responsible citizens in an ever-changing global society. It's clear that as a district, some of our actions have veered away from our stated mission, visions, and goals. The strategic plan identified 5 goals, but I'd like to highlight only one of them due to time constraints. Goal 2, promote a unique professional culture that attracts and retains dynamic staff. This summer, our staff learned that it is possible for a staff member in good standing to be asked to leave their position after more than 2 decades of service to our students with as little as 6 days' notice. It's not an example of a caring community. This summer, our staff learned that our board, given 2 years of survey data indicating a lack of employee trust to our administration, will tolerate and support departures from contracts, good business practices, and ethical behavior without seeking to know the full story. That's not an example of responsible citizenship. This summer, many of our staff chose to speak out and speak up against these practices, and many of these staff members did so in fear of retribution. It's not an example of a safe community, but it is an example of a caring and courageous one. This summer reminded us all while our district needs a goal of promoting unique professional culture that attracts and retains a dynamic staff. When people are afraid of retribution, afraid of suddenly losing their jobs, and cannot trust that the board will hold others accountable for the culture of our district, they vote with their feet. A lack of trust in our leaders breeds contempt, resentment, and applications for employment with other districts. We won't retain dynamic teachers this way. Does our district leadership understand our community goals? I've heard time and again that it'll be okay, Jean. Everything will be okay. There are now over 1,300 signatures from our community that indicate that we are, in fact, not okay. I implore the board and the district leadership to have hard conversations with our community about the direction we're heading in and whether or not this is what the RSU 38 community desires. On one last note, I feel it's important for our community to clarify something. I've heard it said that our community was asked to fight for someone's job. That's an assumption without evidence and is simply not true. The community uproar we have witnessed here is organic, and it happened despite the honest and humble person's best effort to quell it. If you'd like to see evidence of that, please let me know.
Thank you, Jean. All right, next up, Tom Maloki.
I seem to be the old fart of the group. Some of you can dismiss my comments as being the old fart. Maybe some of you will say, he's a wise old fart. I am a resident of Reedfield. I came to Reedfield in 1976. Next time you walk into the high school, look at the date on the front of the school. It says 1976. I was given the opportunity to have my 2 children, my 2 grandchildren, to be part of this school system that I cherish, I love. This school system was born not out of a SAD, school administrative district. It was born out of a CSD, community school district. And I emphasize the word community because as my children went through this school, my grandchildren went through this school, and I became a volunteer at this school, I was always welcomed here. I always felt a sense of accomplishment. I always felt a sense of pride in my children and pride in the educators that we had coming through this district, and happy to be part of that. I was so happy, against my wife's recommendation, I ran for the school board and won. And I sat where you people are sitting now, and I listened to people. But I remember I asked you to find your roots. Your roots of this school are in a community school district. Listen to the voice of the community. Listen to the 700 plus, now up to 1,300, who say, I am proud of the man we have just let go. I am proud to have known him. I have come in this building for weekly meetings, and I'm proud to have worked alongside of him. Our loss is Oak Hill's gain, and he's going to land on his feet. But that is no way to treat our professional educators. I believe that our superintendent has the right not to write for a renewal, but he may have the right but it's the wrong decision. And I stand by that, and I don't have an insight because I'm not privy to your executive sessions, and I realize that. And you may know things that I don't know, but I am sad that we lost a professional educator who I think a great deal of, and who made this community and this school a better place to have my kids and grandkids. Let us go back to our roots and acknowledge the contributions of the community and the foundation of the blocks that this place was built on.
Thank you so much. Next up, I have Amy Tucker, please.
First, I want to say that this room is about the temperature of my classroom any given day of the year. I'm Amy Tucker. I'm a Wayne resident. I'm a mother of a high school student, a middle school teacher here. I've worked in many middle schools across and beyond Maine, and I hold multiple graduate degrees in education, including one in middle-level education. I came to Maranacook because it was different. It was a place where middle-level research and best practices weren't just words on paper. They're our daily reality. Students are at the center of everything we do. We build curriculum around their interests and questions. We pair them with an advisor who becomes a trusted adult advocate for all 3 middle school years. These are the core of what makes Maranacook Middle School effective. Maranacook is unique. In other districts, homerooms are for roll call and paperwork, and they're reassigned every year. Curriculum is often locked into a pacing guide. Lesson 17 must be taught on day 17, no matter what students learned on day 16. Teachers are interchangeable, students are numbers, but it hasn't been like that here. At Maranacook, students are known, deeply known by the adults who teach and advise them. Our graduates believe in this place so strongly that many have come back to work here. This is the only district I've worked in where that's the case. This is something profound about our school culture, but yet over the past couple of years, we've lost several of these alumni staff members. That should concern us all. More and more I keep hearing, we're the only district that does this. No other school does that. These statements should be said with pride, but lately they feel like warnings that we are eroding the very qualities that set us apart. If we strip away what makes us special, we become just another generic district where a binder and a pacing chart can replace good teaching. For many years, our middle school was the only spotlight school in Maine, recognized by the New England League of Middle Schools for outstanding student support. There are currently 2 Maine middle schools with teachers who are eager to visit and learn from us. For many schools, we are viewed as cutting edge. The work we do here is not easy. I've created entire courses based on student passions, weaving in ELA, math, science, and social studies standards, so students are engaged in learning with meaning and relevance. For most core classes, I'm learning almost as much as the students. Our advisor system is demanding, but it changes lives. It has changed my life. The relationships I've built with students, families, and our community are a big reason I've been proud to work here. There are many misconceptions about the middle school throughout our district that could be resolved with direct communication and observation. We hope that those who question our practices will reach out to the people who are living it day to day, us, the teachers at MCMS. We're here, we're willing, please ask. Every day I'm here, I wonder, will we become a generic cookie cutter district, or will we remain a place that stands out, a place that draws people here because of our commitment to student-centered, research-based middle school level education? I hope we can choose to stand out.
Thank you. Next, I have Vicki Parks.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. Over the past few years, we've watched our district lose talented teachers, mismanage funding, and show little to no academic growth among our students. Morale is low, families are frustrated, and our kids are paying the price. Superintendent's job is to lead our district toward academic excellence, fiscal responsibility, and community trust. This is not happening. Classrooms are under-resourced, teachers feel unsupported, and the students are falling behind. We no longer have a dedicated human resource department, leaving staff without support and advocacy that they need. And now that we've lost Rick Sorois, a beloved middle school principal, because the district failed to extend his conditional license, the decision robbed our students of an inspiring leader and the respect and trust that the school around them was for the better. This isn't about budgets or test scores. It's about real children who get one shot in their education. When good teachers and principals leave, when programs vanish, our leadership avoids accountability, and our kids suffer the lasting consequences. I'm asking the board to reevaluate the superintendent's performance in full transparency. Prioritize funding for the classrooms first, reestablish a proper HR for the staff, invest in retaining and supporting teachers and leaders, like we had with Rick Sorois. Set clear public goals for academic growth and hold leadership. We just need a competent superintendent. You can do this, Jay. One that will lead our district towards academic excellence, show fiscal responsibility, and gain back the community trust. I don't know about this making of an assistant position, but I kind of feel like it's a waste. We cannot afford another year of decline. Our students' future matters more than politics, more than ego, and more than protecting the status quo. Please take action now, because the community is watching and our students deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have Ella Stevens.
Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm going to pull this up just a little bit. Okay. Hi, my name is Ella Stevens. I have lived pretty much my whole life in Reed Field. I have a sister who's an incoming sophomore, and I have a brother who will be in fifth grade. Yeah, fifth grade. I feel like a horrible sister. Anyway, so fifth grade. Point being, I don't want to repeat some of the very valid points that other people have made, so I'll just speak from personal experience. Former middle school principal was my middle school advisor back beginning in 2015, I believe, so 10 years ago. This is a long time for me, most of my life. Middle school is a really hard time for me personally, as it is for most adolescent individuals. I think some people, seem to have it figured out. I certainly did not. One of the things that made my middle school experience an overall positive impact to my life was partially in responsibility, or partially Rick Sorois was responsible for that in large. And I know that that's true for many students, not just myself. And that seems to be what's really important beyond, again, politics, beyond staffing issues. He makes students feel supported. Even when he was a teacher, everyone knew him, everyone loved him. He would have conversations with students. He and I had a personal relationship, which is something that I was really looking for when I was 11, 12, 13 years old. And he gave me that guidance. He made me feel like I belonged there. And that was a big deal. That's a big deal for a lot of kids. So it was shocking to me to hear what I heard, and disappointing. I feel that I have gone to members of the administration, including the superintendent, and I do not feel like I trust them. I don't, and it's not it's not in any disrespect at all, but my trust is not there. My trust is there for Rick. And trust is earned, so he earned that. And he earned that, and everyone feels the same way. Many people feel the same way. So I just feel like if I had a one-to-one conversation with the 14 members of the school board, I think, I really wonder how many people would say, I think it's the right decision that we accepted his resignation. And I would love for you to tell me why. And I know that that can't happen. But outside of this room, just think about yourself having a conversation with me. I went to this school. I had him as an advisor. He changed my life. You would really say to me that you think it is the right decision to take him out of this district. And I know a lot of you, so just think about that for me, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Chip Jones, please, Manchester.
Good evening. I'm going to trump Mr. Maloki. I've been here since 1974. So, with just a brief hiatus to serve in the military, and then I came back here. Why did I come back here? Because I went to school here. I wanted my kids to go to school here. I loved everything about this community. There has been some very disturbing issues that have come up. And I'm not pointing the finger at anyone. And I'm not trying to point it at, the superintendent, the school board, whether, the middle school principal failed to do his job or whatever it may be. But the union, I believe, I can address you, right, Sean, for a question.
Absolutely.
The union, I believe, did the first survey, right? The school union, the teachers union? Who did the first one? It was, okay. That's a wake-up call. That's a wake-up call for all of you here, and it should be a wake-up call for the community. When the teachers are banding together and they truly have some concerns and they don't get heard. The teachers are what make this school. The administration just makes sure the bills get paid and we're all moving in the right direction. The school board makes sure the administrator's doing that job. And it seems like there was a couple trip-ups and failures, hence why we're all here today. And why are we here today? Because there was an issue. Because people blindly follow what's going on as long as an issue doesn't come up. And that's why probably this is one of the larger school board attended meetings in a while. It's because there's an issue up. I'd like to know, what expectations have you set for your administration? Have you? Because I don't think you have. So that encourages freelancing. And I'm not saying that freelancing is bad. I'm just saying that the school board is in charge, not the superintendent. The superintendent serves at the will of the school board. For this decision to be made without the school board's knowledge is a travesty. And it is a travesty because the school board members that I reached out to had no idea what was going on. That's horrible. Really horrible. Sorry, I'm going to have to look down at my notes. And I'm not saying that it was, but when you stepped away for your executive meeting, the superintendent is to be invited and shouldn't be in there if anything's being discussed about him. If it comes to his salary, the renewal of his contract, he can ask to come out into the public. But he gets invited in by you. It's not automatic. And if you discuss him in there, what's going to happen in this meeting or whatnot that has to do with it, you can tell him no, because you run the school. So expectations should be given, because I don't think that anyone here has done anything wrong to a point. I think they thought they were doing things right to a point. But you have to hold that accountable. And you have lost leadership in your school board. You've lost leadership in your administration. And you've got to find it. You've had 2 surveys done. One of them had 100% did not feel that their administration supported them. Huge wake-up call. The second one that was done by you, I believe it was like 34% said that. That's still a bad thing. You always have disgruntled employees, but not 30% of them. I will leave you with this, because I think it's really important. The mediocrity of a teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teachers inspire. You lost one of those. That's not okay. And exit interviews should be done on all administration and tenured teachers to find out why, because that's how you fill your holes. I'm not saying it was administration that some teachers have left, but if they said, I am not getting paid enough, I don't feel like my school supports me. That's your job. You should know this kind of stuff.
Chip,
And I implore you, yeah,
I've been
I'll wrap it
generous.
up.
I've been generous,
Yeah.
so.
I implore you guys to do the right thing. And I'm going to do something I think everybody here would do too. I will offer up myself. If you need something, I will come in. If you need somebody from the public to voice their opinion, I'll come in. Because I think it's about time that we started to get back into this and start getting more involved with our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Roseculp, Reedfield. Thank you.
Thank you for taking my comments. My name is Mark Rousculp. I'm a resident of Reedfield. I have one child in the high school and another coming into the middle school this year. I had some prepared comments, but all of those points have been made. However, something that was addressed earlier in this meeting came to my attention, which I feel it is necessary to discuss. I've been employed in the software industry for 25 years. In 17 of those years, I've been a hiring manager. In that time, I have twice been called upon to hire full departments from scratch. And in that time, I have never, unless forced by an emergency or a resignation that was unanticipated, had to begin the process of hiring a new employee before the old one was out the door. This is not good HR practice. We do not hire people after we've already thrown the old ones out the door. That bespeaks poor planning. In addition, in those 17 years of doing hiring decisions, I have never gone without an exit interview unless those were declined by the employee in question or were legally not permitted for reasons of malfeasance. I found the comments made earlier in this session about the planned process whereby these new holes in our staff are going to be addressed to be deeply troubling from the perspective of best practice and planning. And I would entreat the members of the board, please, to inquire why it is we are in the position to have to hire senior staff without even having a job description in place, when the old staff is already out the door after having been thrown out the door. That's not good management. I would encourage you, please, to take whatever actions you see fit. Thank you for taking the time to listen.
Thank you for being here tonight. Next up, we have Sean Keegan.
Hi, I'm Sean Keegan from Reedfield. I have bullets, but I've been checking them off as the old fart said things and some other great people here. I have 3 children in this district, and I think everyone has spoken better than I about Rick, who I truly value and respect as a leader and just a great guy. I've always expressed a lot of my concerns over Mr. Charette for years. I'm disappointed that some members of the board did not respond to my outreach. I understand that you can't tell me anything. We all get that. Those of you that answered no, all I stated was I wanted to discuss my support for Rick and that I continue to have concerns over the administration, especially his lack of proactive communication and transparency. I think we're smart enough to know that union contracts limit communication, but validating your constituents' concerns while maintaining confidentiality and anonymity is not that hard. Everyone received their tax bill recently. May I remind you, 75% of that bill is to support this establishment. This community has never rejected a school budget since I've lived here, and they support it first time. When there are discussions about cuts, people show up and ask you to rework things to avoid those cuts. I understand we cannot let someone go because the community doesn't like them without there being a cost. But one thing I would like to ask, given that we will not post for a replacement until November, December, is how will those salary savings be reflected in the budget? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Key. All right, Diane, do we have anyone online? All right. Can't see that far. Are we gonna go with Mr. DeAngelis first? All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Mr. DeAngelis. I'm gonna do these because I think people online may be ready, because I announced that, and then we can go back to you, Mr. Durgan. Thank you. Mr. DeAngelis, if you're ready, if you want to proceed.
Okay. Denise, can they hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great, thank you. Thanks. Thank you for letting me speak. I'm not going to repeat a lot of the comments I've already made in respect to the board's request on that. But without question, our school and community has lost one of the best educators I've known. He's outstanding. You've all heard it from people. They're all right. But more importantly, right, the process that was used here should be of grave concern to the school board. And I would ask the superintendent, if you knew that one of your administrators needed to be replaced in your view, did you really come to that conclusion only 6 days before July 1st? If so, that would be a concern. And if not, then that means that you exhibited just callous disregard for process, and we are paying a huge price for that. One of the prices is truly economic. I hope that it can be made public what the settlement needed to be with Mr. Sorois for the improper process that we used to let him go. That costs us money, and I'm sure there's expensive legal fees as well. That's money that should be spent on our children, not on legal fees, not on a settlement for an incorrect firing. I implore the school board to please make sure that you know those numbers. You get those numbers out to the public. We need to know that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. DeAngelis. Do we have more online, Diane? All right, Mr. Durgan, you can go ahead, sir.
Good evening. I did not intend to speak tonight, but being inspired by some of my former students, you know who they are, Ella, Chip Jones. I got stories about Chip, but that's for another time. Gene Rosner and so forth. I'm also very proud of the students that I've had that are sitting on this side over here. Public service is amazing, and you're doing a good job. Volunteering, a tough job. No one wants to do it. You're paid very well, I know that. So, and I guess I want you to listen to me because I want to tell you a little bit of my history. Not that I'm gloating, but I'm probably the oldest one in the building, except for maybe Tom Maloki, I don't know. My wife and I moved here in 1976 because this amazingly sounding school was opening, brand new. Not many teachers or administrators get to open a brand new school. It was amazing. Tiring, frustrating, all that kind of stuff, but amazing, okay? I started working here in 1976, and in that time I've been an English teacher, 5 years as an assistant principal at the high school, a coach, advisor, and I subbed up to the last day of school last year, this past school year, and I'm looking forward to subbing again. So I guess I should say I'm a RSU 38 employee. In that time, a year and a half ago, I was asked to help out Rick Sorois, the assistant principal who had started the year, developed some health issues, and it was going to be a couple of weeks before they hired someone. Well, 4 months later, They hired Chris, and I got to go back to just subbing. Those 4 months were amazing. I thought I knew it all. I'd been there, seen it, done it, bought the T-shirt. Rick was amazing. I learned so much from watching him, listening to him. He included me in everything. So to see someone treated that way, with there's the door, don't let it hit you in the butt on the way out, is sad. It's troubling. It's shabby. In all my 49 years here, I've seen people fired. I've seen people let go. I've seen people, it happens, superintendents, principals, teachers. Very quickly, we had a couple of principals that weren't very good. Before the internet, and it didn't get to the point it has now with petitions and so forth. And one he was an alcoholic and had some issues, and instead of just kind of out the door, the school district, the RSU 38 community, as Tom Maloki said, looked and put him and got him into a rehab, not firing him, letting him keep his health insurance and so forth. That's a community school. They didn't just push him out the door. There was a couple of superintendents who weren't very good at what they thought they were doing for a job. And those firings, terminations, whatever you want to call them, were handled in a much more subtle, non-confrontational, pleasant, professional manner. I don't think that's happened with this case. Okay? So I have a question for the school board, I guess, and I can direct it to Sean, but anybody feel free to answer, especially the ones who I had in school and I gave you a D and you needed an A or whatever. But anyway, did any of you ever talk to Rick about what has gone on? None of you reached out to Rick. You only have one employee, And when I call my Reed Field members of the school committee, I said, you only have one employee. Don't mess it up, just find out what's going on. So no one ever talked to Rick. So you really just have the superintendent's word on this. Okay. You did?
I did talk to Rick.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. It's a private conversation, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
ask
it
what,
was
but thank you for doing it.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna end because I could go on, but this shouldn't be happening. Shouldn't be a need for this. Okay?
All right.
So,
Thank you.
thank you very much. To the speakers who got up here, showed your courage, thank you very much. I've learned a lot listening to you, even from Tom Maloki. Thank you all.
All right, well. Nope. Oh, it's my son, sorry. I think that's the end of the public comment. I want to thank everyone for coming. I took multiple pages of notes. We'll get back to people with what we can. And thank you all for coming tonight. And I know my son's excited to go back to the middle school. For the record, I had a daughter that spent 3 years. I see some of my son's teachers here. He's very excited. We talked about it at dinner tonight to tell you about what he did this summer. So I'm very excited for him, and he's very excited to be back. He's had a heck of a summer, and he's going to PEI, so he's got more stories to tell. So look forward to it. So thank you, everybody. Yep.
What will be involved is all of us coming back and having the board respond to what we said. We want your response, we want your feedback, we want to know answers. What would be involved in getting that to happen?
I mean, there's some things, unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to answer. It's just a reality. To some comments we can. Everyone is welcome to all of our school board meetings that we have, and some of these things will be dealt with as the school year goes on. Some policies will be looked at.
Will you be prepared next week for respond?
I don't know if we're gonna answer every question. This stuff takes time.
We don't want this to be about that.
No, there will be answers to some of these questions. Yeah, I understand. I've been involved.
Your responses next meeting.
We're gonna have a discussion as a board on next steps, and there'll be a next meeting. Yes. You can speak at every board meeting. I think we'll respond to what we can, and some things there won't be responses to, is what I'm saying. So we will respond to what we can, and some of them we might not have perfect answers to at the next meeting. This takes time. I'm gonna be honest, I'm going on vacation for a week, and I'm not gonna be working on school board. I put a lot of time in, and so I'll be ready when we can answer the questions, but we'll answer the questions we can. It's not, and some of it's not gonna be a back and forth debate. We will answer what we can, and everyone is welcome to every meeting to weigh in whenever they want. And I strongly encourage, I've talked to many members of this community, many of you in this room, and you're always welcome to these meetings, and I want this room to be full every school board meeting. I do. I've spent many empty days trying to make decisions on the best of my ability, and people haven't come to weigh in, or they come in well after the fact. So I welcome everybody to come to any meetings you want to and weigh in. I understand. I get it. I'm not gonna debate with you. I gave you my answer. Nope. Mr. Maloki, please, and then.
Just to follow up to that, I sent a letter when I learned of this decision to 4 members of the school board, 3 and 1 who had just gotten on. I got no responses. I did not expect them to discuss a personnel. I raised issues about how this decision went along. I only got 1. And fairness and full disclosure, it was from my son-in-law. He took the time to say that he can't talk about certain things, and I respect that. He is my favorite son, and I don't know. Neither here nor there. But don't hide behind confidentiality. I don't want to know if there was a corrective plan of action. I don't think there was. But I'll keep my mouth shut. And please, if a member of the community takes the time to ask you a question or send you an email, all you have to say is, thanks, I got your email, we'll take that into consideration. It's a dereliction of duty when that is not done. And we have lost, we have to find our roots. And our roots of this school is in
Thank you, Mr. Mulkey. Appreciate the feedback.
I was just trying to finish that conversation.
Yeah.
I know, Jonathan, you said you could only answer certain things and other things you can't.
Right.
The other things you can't, can you convey those? Like if someone asks a question about, is the sun purple? You go, hey, that's a scientific secret, and we're
Right.
Harvard knows about, and we're not going to discuss. I mean, so at least
Yes.
there's some closure on that, and it's not an open-ended question waiting.
Yep, I will do my best. Yes. My son's going to hockey camp, and he loves hockey. His teachers know that. He lives for hockey, so. Go ahead. Is this a comment, a question? What do we?
It's a comment, it's not really a question. I'm
Okay.
sure, may I speak? Is that okay?
Yeah, proceed. I
Okay.
was just curious what we were doing
Yep.
here. So,
My name is
thank you.
Shirley Allen, and I'm the Spanish teacher in the middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, I wasn't going to speak. I was advised not to by my husband, by other people. Sorry, Patrick, I know he's not watching. We don't live in this district. So I just wanted to share that how we treat people matters. And that's why my heart is thumping, and that's why I had to say what I need to say. I'm from away, right? So I am not in the running. I've only been here since 2016, and I don't live in the district. But in 2016, when my family was moving to the Augusta area, I was speaking to someone. I was working in a school in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and just so happened there was someone from the Augusta area, and she said, when you are buying houses, you need to find a place in RSU 38 because the schools there are phenomenal. I'm in a little bitty school. What are the odds that this community school has a reputation?
And then I found a second person from Skowhegan in that little bitty school who said, she's right, you need to move to RSU 38. And that is because of the way historically this community treated each other. It's historically the education that was offered. And so I guess I do have a question. So if someone were coming from away, would they get that same information today about our community school?
Thank you. I mean, I moved here because of the schools. I came here in 2014. I haven't been here that long. I had no ties to this community. I actually showed up at town meeting and was asked to be on the school board and told it was going to be for a one-year term. And I've been asked by many members, maybe I won't be asked back. That's okay. I'm perfectly fine with people not being happy. It's part of discourse, and there's a lot of people who are happy. I hear a lot of great things about this district. We're not gonna debate any longer. We will get back to folks. Yeah. Open to your advice.
Some responsibility related to. I think if you could give that
Yep.
commitment, that would go a long way to alleviate some of the tension in the room.
Yeah, I will commit to that. Yes, I will commit to that. Got my word. Yeah. All right. Did you have a question? Okay, yes, I will commit to that. You got my word. And pretty easy to find, Mike. No, I set the agenda. Let's roll the board chair, and I am committing to you. We've never met. Maybe we've talked on the phone. Maybe we have met. I don't know when you went to Marina Cook. I've gone to pretty much all the soccer games, basketball games, football. But I commit to you, I'll do that. So I set the agenda. So, and Amy helps me with that. So Amy's going to make sure it's on there. So, all right, we adjourn. Thank you.